Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of the Criminal Minds Evolution Season 1 finale. Episode 10 ended with a Who Entered That Room?
And who is Gold Star, or what is Gold Star? I mean, we're going to be talking about who came into that room,
Yeah.
the whole Gold Star mystery. I mean, this is how you do a cliffhanger. We complained a little bit earlier this season about oh, is JJ and Luke dead? Of course they're not dead.
No.
Those are the cliffhangers they got to throw out the window. These are the cliffhangers I live for.
This is going to be a really fun discussion. Advance warning, the name Spencer Reid is going to be thrown around in here. So if you're interested in that, keep on watching and subscribe to the channel. Hit that button. We don't want you guys to miss anything else we have coming up. I mean, Criminal Minds Evolution may be ending, but we're doing The Last of Us.
Yep.
We've got Succession starting a little later this year. Yellow Jackets.
The Blacklist. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff coming up here at the channel. So hit the subscribe button. Stick around with us. So much great TV. Follow us over on Instagram, Matt and Jess TV. We have lots of fun little pictures up there. Bunny pictures if you're into bunnies. I have a bunny, so there's lots of pictures up there.
Okay, so let's just get right into theories here. I mean, I want to start with the person walking into the room because this is where...
Who is it?
It's Spencer Reid. Or let me put it this way. Erica Messer, showrunner, wants it to be Spencer Reid. Like, this is what I think is going on here. I think intentionally they left this person's identity a mystery because they may not know for sure who they're going to get in that spot. I think that she probably wants Matthew Gray Gubler to come back. I think...
Who doesn't want that? We all want that. He is sorely missed.
Yeah, and this is a perfect way to set up a potential Reid return because I think there's obviously going to be a lot of people out there that are like, okay, obviously this is a familiar character, but maybe not somebody we've seen recently, because if it was somebody who we didn't care about or somebody we just met, why leave the cliffhanger like this? Like, they specifically want us to be wondering who this person is, and provided that she can get Reid back, like, this would be an awesome, if not crazy, way to make it happen.
I think they did it in such a way that it doesn't leave like a ton of possibilities of who it could be, but I think it's open in enough that if whoever she wanted to plug in there, she could. I kind of wonder, like you said, does she know who it's going to be? Or if she was like, listen, if we're going to come back for a season 2, I want to leave it open-ended so I can cast out a couple of fishing poles and see sort of who I can get. Because they set it up where Elias is caught.
Yeah.
Bailey knows him or has some sort of connection with him because Elias brought up Gold Star. Bailey just walked into the cabin and was like, hey, it's just you and me sort of thing. And Elias is like, yeah, just you and I know about Gold Star. And now you don't because you're dead, Bailey. I was like, okay, wait a second. There's some other people that also know about it. We know that Rebecca knows about it. We know that the AG knows about it. And Bailey knew about it. And somehow Elias knows about it. So as much as I want it to be Spencer that walks through that door, whoever told Elias about it has to be the person that's coming through the door, and it has to be somebody that's high up. Now, if it was just the AG, I think she would have walked through the door, maybe. The way they set it up, it was like Elias is in the room waiting at the station. He's not handcuffed anymore. There's a million like guards all dressed in black all down the hallway. So I was like, okay, well, who's going to have like protection like that? Would it be Spencer? Would it be the AG? Would it be somebody even higher up on the list here? Like, it has to be somebody very important to have that kind of security where I mean, he's not handcuffed anymore, so they have to know each other to some degree. Elias has so much power that it's like mind-blowing at this point that he can sort of have this kind of, I don't know, homecoming and go into jail. And that's the other question too, is like, is he actually going to go to jail? I don't think so. Like, there's so much that's left with whatever Gold Star is giving this guy a pass. And I'm so excited about the idea that Elias is actually going to be in season 2.
There's so much exciting stuff that can come out of this. Like, Elias is a really compelling villain. Like, he's obviously dark and evil and twisted and all of this
And
other
a
stuff.
puppet master
Yeah.
extraordinaire.
Like, he somehow found out about Gold Star, which I'm going to just
Who
guess.
told him?
I'm going to guess this is some sort of like failed government program or something like that involved obviously a certain measure of technology. It may have involved a certain element of criminology. Like, if I'm going to try to link Spencer into all of this, which I'm going to do because I'm desperate to have Reid back on the show, so I'm going to say that maybe Spencer is working for somebody who is really, really high up. Like, we know he's off doing something in secret that the BAU's kind of talked about here and there. So maybe he is doing some of that. Like you mentioned, all the security. I don't think Spencer would command all of it necessarily himself, but he could show up with whoever else he is working for. And this may be something where Spencer, whether he's the one who told Elias, or maybe they both share somebody who told them both about Gold Star or whatever else, he may be in there in this situation where they have to clean up an enormous mess where they can't get Elias in a courtroom, because if Elias goes in a courtroom and starts talking about Gold Star, then they got a huge national problem.
Okay, here's my tinfoil
All right,
hat
all
theory.
right.
I think that whatever Gold Star was, Elias worked on it, and that's why he knows about it. And I think that's part of also why we had Bailey for a long time trying to shut down the BAU and stop them from going after this guy, because he was a little bit worried that it was Elias, or he knew that it was Elias, and they had to let him go because he just knows too much, and they have to sort of turn an eye to it to let him go on and do whatever it is that he's going to do to protect this secret.
Now, here's another interesting option here. The other obvious option is that it's Matt Simmons. And the reason why, I'm saying Reid first, this is no offense to Simmons. I think Daniel Henney is great. It's just, I think we're all so much more invested in Reid because Reid was there for like all of the original Criminal Minds. And I just think the way that he has dealt with sort of these psychological criminals, he's done it longer than Simmons has. Also, Daniel Henney's like an actual series regular on the Wheel of Time, so it's harder to imagine him having like a substantial amount of time to come and do a full season.
Yeah, and that's the same with like Shamar Moore.
Yeah.
He's busy doing SWAT. Is he going to be able to come over and do a substantial role? No. Could we still see him though in something small? Yeah. And I think that we'll see Daniel as well in a smaller role. Now, the other option here is, could it be Hotch? Is that a possibility? I mean, a lot of time has passed since everything happened.
Yeah.
Things can change. Is it possible that they could be bringing him in with his expertise to get some sort of help, or he was also working on some sort of this Gold Star project? Who knows? I do think that because they didn't show who it was, they don't know who it is. That's what I think. I think that she's going to cast out the net, see who she can get to come back, and then roll with it and craft a story around that.
And that's honestly just really exciting in a
Very
way.
exciting.
Like, I like the idea of we're sort of venturing into at least part of the great unknown. And, really, it's with a lot of the other stories too. It's like, sure, some things are resolved, but they also left things very, very open still. Like for Luke and GARCIA, I think things are really, really open for some interesting stuff there down the road.
That is heating up. Okay, goodbye, Tyler. So she broke up with him, straight up broke up with him. I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore where people are going to lie to me and I'm just going to let it keep happening. So have a good life. I was like, goodbye. We're done with you. But that whole scene where he was going into surgery, she didn't know before she broke up and she didn't know what was going to happen. Rossi's missing. He might die. That whole back and forth where Luke is down, kneeling down and like touching her, and they were so close and so intimate. That intimacy and that chemistry, Oh, it is all over the place there. Like, it is 10 out of 10. Beautiful. I just like last week,
Yeah,
these guys really worked it for me where it was like, okay, they went on an awkward date.
yeah,
That happens where you have a really good chemistry and then you put too much pressure on it going on a
yeah.
fancy date and you wreck it. And sometimes that's forever. And sometimes it's this where it's like there's still chemistry there. It's not gone at all. And they are talking on a more intimate level. I think it's still coming, guys. I believe.
It's funny where I kind of not only do I believe, but I'm actually happy they did it this way now because, like, let's just say, for example, they started this season off and they were already together in a relationship that was a couple of years in. We would have been deprived of like all of that. We would have been deprived
I
of
would have
like
been okay with it.
I would have been fine, but I like it better that we could actually see the early stages of a possible relationship. So I am willing to be like, okay, you know what? Criminal Minds, I believe in you with some of this. I'm fine with it. As for, Tara and Rebecca, I wanted a little more resolution there.
Okay, now let's talk about the part that, I was not that happy
Oh boy.
with. Okay, listen, we're going to talk about Rossi
Yeah.
and what happened here because last week with his help
Yeah.
me, and, Elias being like, I know that you have a gun and all this training, but I have youth, so I'm better than you. I'm just like, Elias, you ain't that young either. You're in your 40s like me. Like, come on. You're not like 20 and spry.
Yeah.
You're okay, stop. So I was not believing in all of that. I was just like, they're kind of doing Rossi really dirty with this. It just doesn't make a lot of sense of what's going on. And you had a really good theory,
Oh,
which
thanks.
I wish you were in the writer's room with this, where the idea was that Rossi was playing Elias. He was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm a feeble old man. I need to stop for a pee pee break. Like, kind of help me. Like, just to kind of play one over on him. That isn't what happened. He legitimately got caught and then was left in a container with a knife, enough stuff to make an explosive, like all kinds of like weapons. And like, I was just like, what is happening here? You've been left in a treasure trove full of ways to get out
Yeah.
of here or deal with Elias if he comes back. Elias left him with a knife?
Yeah.
Really? What? It was so weird. Like, I just didn't understand what happened there.
Elias basically just left him in an escape room. Like that's exactly what happened here.
Full of ways
Yeah.
to escape.
Yeah. I'm not trying to sit here and be like, I always know best, but it's like I liked my idea way better than what the writers did here. It's like
100%.
I just feel like this was just it didn't do justice to the Rossi character. It also didn't do justice to the Elias character. Like, I'm glad that Rossi sort of found the will within himself and all of that is great, but it's just like the logical leaps that were done to make it so that he could get out of this situation. It doesn't work for the story that they're telling. And, that's a shame. I'm obviously happy that Rossi is alive and that he can move forward and be with the BAU again. It's just, it didn't have to be this way.
Yeah, but then my question is going into the next season that if Rossi's like, okay, I can be bested by like a 45-year-old
Yeah.
with his, I'm younger than you, all my training doesn't matter anymore,
Yeah.
I'm too old to be here, then why is he still going to be with the BAU next season and seemingly out in the field doing anything? Like, if this is all it takes is a 45-year-old who's a little bit younger than him to be able to go over all his training and him having a gun and like it's just none of it made any sense to me. And I know they tried to tie it in with everything that was going on with Crystal and how Rossi was feeling and that he was kind of like, oh, I'm giving up, I'm ready to come see you. But they didn't build any of that up during like the mid to end season. Like when Rossi got captured, none of that was really going on anymore, where he was kind of like giving up on everything, giving up on his job, giving up on life. He's done. No, he wasn't. He was still Super Agent Rossi out there knocking on doors and being like, hey, what information do you have? What can I find out? Now I'm at, Elias's house. I'm ready to go. It's just, it didn't make any sense. I'm sorry. They just
Yeah.
did him dirty. I
Yeah.
didn't like it.
I didn't like that. I wish there was more resolution on JJ and Will too. It feels like that whole
Yeah.
story was just sort of like, I don't know, sped through in the finale.
It went nowhere.
Yeah, like maybe it'll come back in season 2. Maybe it's a long game sort of thing because we're talking about a potential long-term illness. It's just like you spent so much time on it this season. Why not give us at least 3 minutes of it in the finale?
It was great to see them working together, though.
No,
I
it was.
really love that.
Yeah, like this, I mean, this finale really did do a lot right. Like, it gave us the most compelling, I think, season 2 tease possible, save for like actual Spencer or Simmons like showing up at the BAU. Like,
Yep.
we have a lot of questions. We have like government intrigue moving forward here. There's room for a
Yeah.
lot of fun theories.
Yep. What is Gold Star? You guys leave it in the comments for us. Tell us what
Yeah.
you think and tell us, who do you think is coming through that door? Is it the AG? Is it Spencer? Is it someone else? Like, who do you think it is?
Well, and thank you guys for watching, not just this video, but the whole season. And
Yep.
we'll see you here next time.